Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Petty Revenge. In today's episode, my BIL tried to get me fired, so I ruined his wedding photos. I'm returning my sister's trash to her. I started studying by night because of the neighbor below. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My BIL tried to get me fired, so I ruined his wedding photos. This actually happened about 4 years ago. At the time, I was married to my now ex-wife. Her sister, Alice, was getting married to Roger. But let's backtrack a bit so I can set the scene. It's a bit long, but bear with me, friends. I'd had a storied past with Roger, and we did not care for each other in the least, to put it mildly. He is, a compulsive liar, mooch, and cheat, and had pretty much alienated Alice from most of her friends and family. He and I had a falling out over all this where I called him out on all his BS. In revenge, he said a lot of really horrible lies about me to the family and had done his best to try and get me fired from my job as well as some other things I can't discuss. Really evil shit. As a result, we had to pay a lawyer to send him a cease and desist letter, and we went NC with either of them. I wouldn't even be in the same building with him, for any reason, including birthdays, Christmas, etc. After a few years, I was still NC with either of them. My wife would talk to her sister occasionally, which didn't really bother me, but I came under a lot of pressure from my in-laws to normalize things somewhat. For the good of the family. Now, I got along great with my in-laws and it was really important to them, so I gave it a shot. I would basically be at an event with them but wouldn't socialize or engage with either of them. A few months later, they announced their engagement and began planning the wedding. My wife was to be MH and our kids 6 and 4 would be flower girl and ring bearer. Now, I was absolutely not in the wedding party, this you must understand, and I was perfectly okay with that. As the planning continues, I get word that Roger would like to buy me a suit as his way of making amends, and so I wouldn't have to pack a suit of my own. I had plenty of suits, so this was a really odd request, but he comes from some money and said it was his way of trying to make amends for all the BS in the past. Whatever, fine, I'll go along. I sent my measurements over along with my sons for the wedding planner. The wedding was in a different state, so I wouldn't be able to see the suit until we picked it up a day before the wedding. This concerned me along with his insistence that I wouldn't have to bring a suit, so I packed my own suit as well, a nice charcoal gray two-piece with white shirt and blue tie. We fly into the state, check into our hotel, and I head to the haberdasher to pick up the suits along with my son and FL, also not in the wedding party, but also getting a suit. Turns out Roger hadn't bought us suits, but had actually rented us the same cream-colored tuxedos as his side of the wedding party, basically trying to dress us up like the groomsmen despite not being in the wedding. I immediately saw why he didn't want me to pack a suit and had a good laugh at it, but said nothing and let him think he got over on me. My wife also found this quite hilarious, and there we formulated our plan. The day of the wedding, everyone got dolled up in their wedding kits, champagne dresses and cream tuxedos, and me, in my charcoal gray suit. When Roger saw me, he was cordial but looked a bit irked. I found out through the grapevine he was absolutely livid I didn't wear the tux, which frankly made my day. Now for the absolute best part, and cue the petty revenge, the pictures. Because I was close, family, I was included in a lot of pictures by default, but my wife, bless her heart, made a point of pulling me into almost every picture she was able to. When the pictures came back, it was amazing. In at least 60% of the pictures, I was in there somewhere and stood out like a sore thumb. 8 to 10 people all dressed the same in cream and white and me, in my almost black suit. Alice was so beyond pissed, she had a near meltdown and insisted that everyone get together to retake the pictures the right way, which of course didn't happen as this was 3 months after the wedding. So, yeah, enjoy your wedding album with its almost perfect color scheme and coordination. Edit. Since everyone wants to own why we split up, it wasn't related to this. She had some untreated mental illness and infidelity issues that made an ongoing union untenable. Cream-colored tuxedo nauseated face. My poor kid looked like a lawn jockey. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this story seems a little off color. I can almost picture it. It's so funny reading your pre-wedding setup. It's just so obvious that he's trying to stage manage the scene and that he's brewing up a plan that, in his own mind, nobody will ever be able to figure out. Too smart by half, as my dear grandmother would say. My dear grandmother, dead now, used to say that too. I never realized it was an insult until now. Being a math brain, I thought it meant 150% smart. Good one, Granny. So good. I was afraid you weren't going to bring a suit with you. Phew. The thing that strikes me is that Roger didn't just say, hey, we're going for a matching color scheme and are providing the suits. If he'd done that and Opie pulled their move, they could have portrayed themselves the wounded party. What was the goal, exactly? Make the wedding party look bigger than it was? Man, they sound like a real piece of work. I'm surprised they did try and sue you. LOL. How could they? Roger took his own L from a gold-plated platter the minute he insisted he buy OP a suit while knowing full well it's a rental. What's he gonna do? Sue for the rental cost? Roger. Here's the check for $125. I get you guys had a bad history, but I don't really get how trying to include you in coordinating with the family/bridal party was an insult to you. Kind of seems like it was an olive branch that you purposely threw back in their faces. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm returning my sister's trash to her. My sister doesn't clean up after herself at all, even though we have a cleaning schedule. It began all right, but no, she doesn't even try anymore. She leaves her stuff everywhere and either doesn't see the mess or doesn't mind living in Troll Cave. Yesterday, I cleaned everything because I hate the mess, and even a day later the kitchen's already covered in crumbs. Completely fed up, I took the crumbs and put them on her computer's keyboard. I will continue to do so until she starts cleaning up, but my guess is she won't even notice. Put them in her bed. She will notice. I used to put empty toilet rolls in my husband's pillow, so he learned to put them in the recycling bin. Nothing brought me more joy than forgetting about it and hearing a loud exclamation when he found it that night. My mom would put the cheese wrappers that my dad left out in his coffee container, haha. He would eat the plastic cheese singles. Had an ex who never put his shoes away, and you would stumble over them. Told him twice to either put them away or I put them on his dresser, even if they were wet or muddy. The third time was the last warning he received, and then I always put the dirty shoes on his dresser. It was an heirloom he held dear. Didn't take long for him to put his shoes away. Put small seeds in her keyboard and water them lightly every day. Put all your rubbish on her bed, and when she complains, tell her, now you know how it feels. My sister and I used to split the basement as a bedroom growing up with one piece of drywall hanging between our rooms. Where and I were complete opposites. She would eat in her bed, leave dishes laying around, sleep on her pile of clothes, etc. I have OCD, and everything in my room was tidy, not necessarily clean. One summer I went on a vacation for a week and she missed me and asked me if she could sleep in my bed. I told her yes. When I had gotten home, I learned that she was dog sitting for a friend and there was poop all over my room and half-eaten sandwich in my bed. So I scooped up the poop and threw it all over her room and put the sandwich in her pillowcase. We were young. Now I'd probably berate her until she cleaned it up. I started studying by night because of the neighbor below. I am a student at a university. I am 35 years old and have a house in a different town, but I'm currently living part-time in a student corridor. The corridor is built 1955. Sounds will travel through the building. I am a quiet type of neighbor. Almost never listens to music, mostly studies on my computer. I read and drink tea. Lots of tea. Most of the time, I'm not even there. Only a few days a week/month. In my area, this is the cheapest accommodation you can find. It does its job. I am quite happy about it. Then, a new neighbor moved in below. One day, she knocked on my door and asked me if I used the new furniture cup she gave me. What furniture cups? The one I left in your mailbox. I explained to her that my mail comes to my house, meaning I only check the mailbox once a month or so to get the student newspaper. I get the furniture cups and puts them on my chair. She left them together with a note about me making loud, inappropriate sounds. I do not. Whatever. I'll use them if it helps her. Fact about the chair. The chair itself is part of the room, since I rent it furnished. I am not buying an office chair on wheels for her sake. Not happening. One day later, she finds me on Facebook and is upset my chair is still making sound. She also informs me to stop moving furniture around. I do not understand WTF she is saying. She also states she wants to compromise by asking me to sleep at the same times as her, 10 in the evening to 8 in the morning. I inform her this will not happen, however, I will get a carpet. She says it's not fair I get to make sounds so that she can't sleep, says that it makes it impossible for her to focus on her lectures by day. Next time I am at my house, I take a small carpet with me. When I get back, she still complains about the sound and wants me to study sitting in my bed. I inform her I will not do this. Not that she has anything to do with it, but I have an actual permanent back injury affecting my nerves, and I will not study in my bed. I need a chair. She starts banging at the ceiling every time I make a move. If I use my kettle, if I use my chair, even if I use the bathroom. She obviously wants me to be as quiet as I am when I am not there. Then she complains to the landlord. They email me about it being prohibited to make loud sounds between 10 in the evening to 8 in the morning. I explain politely to the landlord that the girl downstairs is insane. They're understanding and inform me they will try to speak with her. I also check her Facebook profile. It says she is studying law. For some reason I find this kind of funny, because she acts like the loud sound rule can be used to interfere with me actually using my room like a normal person, and has quoted the landlord's rules about loud sounds after 10 like it's Swedish law or something. It is not, and it would take a lot more for the landlord to do anything. She also reminds me about lawyers I have spoken to in my work life that tries to use their title to get better treatment than normal clients and threatens you if you don't comply. Yesterday, I got back from my house after 3 weeks studying from there, because I need to get to some seminars, examination, and stuff. 20 minutes past 10, she started making banging sounds at the ceiling. I am 35 years old. I normally go to sleep at midnight at the latest. I am not some party animal like some of my other neighbors, who are nice people by the way. I have had no real plans to begin living like when I was 20 and was up all night. Well, I guess I am not studying in the mornings like I planned to. I am going to begin studying by night every time I am here, and especially if she starts hitting her ceiling. Usually the course I go to begin quite late on the day, so this is not an issue. I blocked her on Facebook. I don't know if this will affect your back, but I heard physical activity while studying helps with memorizing content. Maybe you should jump rope while you study at night too, haha. I do believe jump rope would actually count as disturbing for real. However, I do walk around sometimes because of this very issue with my back. I do this quietly. I do not use shoes inside. She still hears it. But seriously, I can hear the shared kitchen that is on the opposite side of the corridor. She wrote to the landlord I am stomping on my floor. The wardrobe was built in place and makes a lot of sounds as well when I open it to get my nightgown. Yeah, I am totally the nightmare neighbor. My neighbor upstairs plays the recorder and is not that good at it. She should be considered lucky I am not doing that as well. Maybe you could file a complaint on her banging her ceiling after 2200 hours? She isn't exactly keeping quiet herself. If you have a camera you can bring into apartment for your nightly routines, record what is happening. Next time landlord says anything, prove to him that she makes more noise banging on the ceiling than you do throughout night. I actually invited my landlord to observe my routine and what I do in my room, but it seems that wasn't necessary. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.